we'll try and explore these concepts. Now I want to, like, my caveat is that I'm not an expert in head, heart and hand alignment. I am also a fellow struggler because it's a very powerful space. It's easy to talk about it. It's a very powerful space to hit in terms of, a powerful zone to occupy. And it takes a lot of effort to actually get into that zone, and it doesn't come easy. So I don't have too many answers, but we can all ask questions to each other during today's session. Okay. Right. Let me throw this open and let me hear some thoughts from you on what do you think is this whole equation? What is the head supposed to do? What is the heart all about? And what are the hands all about? Let me just hear. Anybody? Ajay, go ahead.
Head is supposed to think logically, reasoning. Hand comes activity, doing it physically, knowing yourself. Heart is all about the emotions,
Right.
the feelings,
Right.
the connect to people.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? Any other versions of that? Yes,
Logical, illogical action.
sir. Okay. क्या बात है?
I think the heart has more to do with suggestions.
Yeah.
The head has more to do with scrutiny.
Yeah.
And of course the hand,
Right.
execution.
Right. Right.
Head is something which controls both heart and hands.
Okay.
The heart is more about desire, wanting something.
Right.
The head is how you get about it, and hands is going to get it.
Right. It's actually not so, yeah, I agree with you, not so actually cut and it, right? Because if you say the head controls the heart and hand, then explain love to me. So it might be that the heart is controlling certain parts of the universe which you may not see it that way, right? It's an open question. There are no answers, like I said. This is a question back again. Yes, sir.
So heart is all about the hope.
Yeah.
It's more in terms of future and things of that sort. Head is more in terms of caution, fear, and how you go ahead. And the hand is the part which is confused between these two.
Which one to follow? Right?
Which
Yeah.
one to follow?
Yeah.
So that is, that is the classic case of love.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think you can also say it's the left brain and the right brain
Yeah.
synchronizing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then once they're synchronized, then the hands can take the correct action.
Yeah, absolutely. So your heart would be the right brain, I think, correct thing, and the mind is okay. That's another interesting way to look at it. So, but the thing is, yeah, it's like, broadly speaking, it would be this equation of thinking, feeling, and doing. And usually I found this is the path, the natural path to action, actually. But sometimes it could be feeling, thinking, and doing. So thinking, feeling, and doing, feeling, thinking, and doing is okay. But if doing comes first, then it becomes an issue. Okay, so I'll try and explain that concept, okay, as you go on. So, like, yeah, head is all about rational thinking, logical thinking basically. It is all about thinking, analytics, objective stuff rather than subjective things. Heart would be the reservoir of emotions, feelings, ideas, all of those things are there over there. Doing, of course, is your hands, but hands is only a metaphor in this case. It's not like doing doesn't mean just using only your hands. It can be using your entire being, right? So hands is an icon for behavior or action in this case, right? So there's thinking, there's feeling, and there's doing. Okay. Okay. Now I'm going to give you 30 seconds to read and absorb the next slide. Maybe 35 seconds. Okay. And then we'll throw it up with a few questions. Okay. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
35 seconds. Can you read this in the back?
Yeah.
Done? Okay, so we're looking at Friday afternoon 4:30, and this town hall meeting has just happened, and the Vice President has spoken, and people have clapped and all this. And the 40 of you are in actually teammates. So what's going on in your heads now?
Let's hit the bar.
It's 4:30 in the afternoon.
Sudden change.
Sudden change. What are your thoughts? What are you immediate thinking? What's your brain doing? Because you're affected. Remember, you're in team A.
What's going to happen now?
What's going to happen now?
Are we going to lose our jobs?
Are we going to lose the jobs?
Go home, think about it on music.
I think the first thought that will come into people of Team A is, oh, I'm going to be led by these youngsters.
Okay?
It is.
Okay, that's an interesting thing. So is it like an immediate, do you think it's a very, is it like a completely 100% positive thing, or do you
No,
think
it's a mix of feelings.
It's a mixed feeling.
Yeah,
People are still
because
not
there's
like,
70 people on that side, 40
Yeah.
of us.
So there are lots of
Inexperience-wise
insecurity, yeah. So thinking about like,
Yeah.
you might be thinking that this is not such a great move. If you put yourself in the position of those people who are affected by this, they may say,
40 people
yeah,
will have all kinds of constituent elements.
true,
Some were suppressed or they could not express themselves because
Right.
of the environment.
right.
And now when they see the opportunity of youth, action and all,
They could be
say,
energized.
yeah, this is the place I belong to.
Could be, yeah.
Wow, that's a good chance I'm getting.
That's a good.
It's a good manifestation.
Yeah.
Different kind of manifestations which are happening in these 40 people,
Yeah.
which we cannot predict, we can visualize.
Right. So, so I'll just take a little tweak from there and say like, you are not trainers, facilitators, coach and L&D and HR people. You're just a normal 30-year-old or something in a team. So I'm saying again, do you think you would be completely positive to this move?
No.
That's all I want to know. I think
No,
mind is
completely
still,
positive.
it's very chance, and he's still like, not
Maybe hazy.
maybe thinking, he's thinking like, what's going to happen, things will change and my ideas will not work and my work is gone, management has lost its head, this is not a great idea, we're going to go down every attrition. All of those things start, in 10 seconds, all those thoughts come into your head, right? And your heart, what are you feeling? What would you feel?
Fear.
You would feel fear, yeah. You would feel stress maybe a little bit?
Nervous.
Nervous? So these are not positive things, they're all like, everything's up in the air.
Call it eustress if you want.
Yeah?
Call it eustress. Why distress?
Yeah.
Eustress.
Yeah, you could call it that. Okay, so now we cut, and at the end of the town hall session, you have this, as usual, the management will come and say the right things. They will want you to think and feel a certain way about this whole thing. They will have a vision, for sure they will have worked weeks on that vision, right? And they will request the cooperation of everybody involved. All these 110 people will be said, boss, come on, let's do it. This is great for the company, it's happening, this is the way forward, we're going to hit this, we're going to do that, all is going to be well. And thank you very much, have a good weekend. Now you cut to 11:30 Monday morning. All these 40 people, all of you 40 people, have come back after a weekend, which I imagine is not such a great weekend. You come back to your office, you switch on your computers, and you get an email. In fact, multiple emails. One is from the HR, echoing the plan, like what's going to happen, how are you going to execute this whole merger, right? Internal merger. Then you'll see things popping up on your calendar from your team lead probably, saying, I want your time, 20 minutes, I want to block your time. So what I'm saying is there will be a cadence, you will see certain things that are actually pointing you in a direction. And the direction is a direction of action. Somebody wants you, your boss, your team leader, your company, your VP, they want you to click on a portal, do something, get into action mode, talk to team B leaders, figure out your career path, look at what the whole thing is going on, see how you fit. All that stuff they will want you to do. And all of those come with a deadline. They want you to finish that by 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock. So we're looking at maybe like 2 o'clock on Monday afternoon. How many of these 40 people would have actually started taking action? What is this? Give me like off the top.
8%. 8% of.
Yeah, so 5 people, 5, 10 people. So this goes on, right? It's now Tuesday and some other mails have come, Wednesday some other mails have come. Finally, like this, it's boiling point, because unless those things happen, this merger can't really take off, right? So on Wednesday afternoon, how many people have done it?
Maybe double that.
20 people?
Yes, max.
Okay. So we're saying 20 people have done this. They have clicked, they've gone to a portal, they have fed their data, they've started talking to other people and all this stuff. Now remember, now the question to you is like, so even if you assume 25 out of the 40 people have done it by the weekend, by that particular week, right? How many of these 25 people are actually convinced in their head and heart that this is the way forward? This is good for me, this is good for my company.
Zero.
Not zero.
8, no, 5%.
Some of them.
So what? So you're talking about 20%. If 25 people have responded and 5 people think this is genuine, like Sir was saying, they actually see it as an opportunity. And few people actually have that quality to the ground learning, to be like water, to flow, to internalize things, and those people we don't need to worry about. Right? They will always float to the top and they will always make it. They will always be good for your company and for your for circumstances. But the other 20 people, other 35 people who are yet not aligned to it, okay, that's the problem.
They're always looking for change.
They're always
Some
looking
people
for
who are always looking for
Also.
change, they
Also.
adopt them.
Also.
Straight away they adopt.
Also, yeah. So actually coming in from that point, now you have a scenario where say 30 people have responded for various reasons. Mostly it's because of pressure. That there's a time frame, there's a deadline, there's my manager, there's my team lead, there's the HR guys, all of them are on the tail and I have to respond. So let me press that blue button. Finish. Okay, so has action happened? Action has happened for the 30 people. But the head and heart, not aligned. And that actually is the issue. That is the issue with you, me, and everybody in this room and everybody outside on the road, everywhere in the world, that we are always into action because action is objective, action is measurable, right? But the issue is that the most important part of your head and heart not being aligned, we're all victims of that feeling, right? And when I was doing my little bit of research for this talk today, I was shocked to actually discover that this is a simple matter of these three things being aligned, right? And if they're not aligned, it can not only be emotionally bad but also physically detrimental for all of us. Like you can link it back to diseases which are not psychosomatic, they're real diseases like stress and heart attacks, even cancers. They're all produced by this negative thing because somewhere in your mind, in your heart, there's a rebeller. There's rebelling going on saying I'm doing something, but A, I don't know why I'm doing it. 2, I don't feel good about doing it, right? But I'm doing it. And there's this point of like 3 baje ye karo, 5 baje ye karo, 12 baje ye karo, this is always going on, right? And you don't even have time to step back and feel good about what you do. To think about this first of all, you know, because decisions like this need a lot of internalizing, and sometimes maybe you don't get that time. And it's a tough question to ask because if you ask, you know, 2 years ago I was with HP, I was leading a huge team of people, and I know that action is paramount. Multiple times, every week there will be something where action is paramount, right? Action has to be taken. And I could also see that I wish I had a little more time, and that's always going to be the fight between action that is required and the right amount of time, because there is no thing as right amount of time. There are people who will sort of get over things faster because of their mental makeup or circumstances or upbringing or culture or whatever. There are people who will struggle through the entire process. So there's no standard time. No, you can't say within 12 o'clock you have to feel like this about it. By 5 o'clock your mind should start thinking like this. You can't do that. But you can say by 5 o'clock I want that button to be hit. And we all do that. We all adhere to that. So that's the issue, you know. And that's from my personal experience I've seen that is the problem with most people. That you're always in action mode, and many of your actions, if not all, are not aligned. And I'm saying not in work, take your mind out of work, go to your home or go with your friends or your social life. Even there the same rule applies. Right? You might be invited to a party, for example, you know, and some of us, me included, have reached an age where party invitations are not cool anymore. Right? So you, on one hand, you have to go for it, but your mind and heart are saying, boss, I would rather do this. I want to spend 2 hours with my daughter or whatever, you know. So there's a fight going on. You come to the party because your close friend has invited you, but you hang around and you're like, somebody died in the family. You're not really good. You know, you're not there. You're not in that present moment. But that's the issue. And everywhere this is the issue, right? So an interesting statistic. How many of you heard of Francis of Assisi? Sir Francis of Assisi. He was a Roman Catholic priest from Italy and a profound thinker, right? He's written many sage advice for the world about 200-300 years ago. So what he says is somebody who just works only with his hands is a laborer. There's no offense in this. This is what he said, so I'm not changing his words. But I think we should look at what he's trying to say rather than what he's actually said. Right? Laborer is somebody who works with his hands. It's always about doing. It's always about action. It's always about doing. You know. Then you come to the craftsman, which is the next higher level. Somebody who works with his hands and heads. Somebody who knows what he's doing and how to do it. And then finally there's an artist who works with his hands, head and heart. Right? Rough roughly this is what the world, how it is split. I would say less than 5% are in this artist category. And important to note that when Francis of Assisi used the term artist, he didn't visualize a person with a paintbrush in his hand. That was not the, or a guitar or a flute in his hand, or her hand, right? His whole thing was artist as a concept, artist as a supreme example of a human being, what it means to be a human being. And therefore somebody who actually works consciously, works with the right emotions, and does the right things with a purpose.